All right, 6.2 level 1. This is a really big ACT skill. So make sure that you take your notes, do your practice, and ask any questions that you have as you work through it, because this is something that shows up a lot on your ACT coming up here in March. So it says, I can compute the area of triangles and rectangles with one or more additional steps, and I can compute the area and circumference of circles after identifying necessary information. So in example 1, it says find the area and the perimeter of a triangle. So if you remember, area of a triangle equals 1/2 the base times the height, or you can take base times the height and divide it by 2, whatever you feel more comfortable with. So if I look at my triangle, I'm reminded that the base and the height are something that have to be perpendicular. So these two sides that I'm outlining in blue, those are perpendicular because they form a right angle. So this is what we have to use for the base and the height, but I don't know one of the other sides. So what I have to do is, I've got a right triangle. If you remember the Pythagorean theorem from last year, it's a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where a and b are the legs of the triangle, or the perpendicular sides, and then c is the hypotenuse. So now that we can find out that last side, we're going to take x squared plus 5 squared equals 13 squared. And then you'd go through the calculation, so you'd take x squared plus 25 equals 169. You'll come out to have x to equal 12. So now that I have x to equal 12, now I can go and find the area and the perimeter of the triangle. So remember, the area we said was 1/2 the base times the height, so I'll take 1/2. The base is 5 and the height is 12. So this is going to equal 30, and area is always units squared. So this is going to be 30 centimeters squared. And then perimeter is the distance around, so we're going to take 12 plus 5 plus 13. And that's also going to be 30. That won't always happen. This is just a special case where it does. So, and remember, perimeter is just the units, nothing squared or cubed. So we got 30 centimeters squared for the perimeter. Okay, let's take a look at a second problem that you might see in level 1. It says find the exact area of a circle when the circumference is 12. So remember, circumference of a circle you can find using pi times diameter. And then area of a circle is pi times the radius squared. So those are two good things to remember or write down in your notes. Okay, so if I have the circumference to be 12 pi, I'm going to substitute the 12 pi in for c. So the circumference of the circle is 12 pi, and they found that taking pi times the diameter. So if I look at this equation, I've got 12 pi equals pi times diameter. That must mean that the diameter is 12, because that's the only thing that's missing. The other way that you can go about doing this is, in order to solve for d, you can divide both sides by pi. And pi divided by pi is 1, so those are going to cancel out on both sides. So you get 12 to equal d, or 12 equals the diameter. Now another thing to remember is that the diameter is twice the radius, or half the diameter equals the radius. So another good thing to remember here. So if we have the diameter to be 12, that means the radius is 6. So and then in order to find the exact area, that means I want to have pi in my answer. I'm going to take pi times 6 squared, and that's going to be 36 pi, and I don't know if we have units here. Nope, no units, so we can either just leave it like that, or we can say units squared. Okay, and we always want to put pi after the number, kind of treat it like a variable. So those are level 1 notes, so go ahead and try the practice and take the exit quiz.